Shannon is a well-known singer who has done a number of gigs with different bands, such as Pixie Lott. She has also helped a wide range of students with singing. Now let's get on with today's video. Tell me a few things you do as a singer or music teacher.
Okay, so as a singing teacher, I get to work with lots of different students of different ages, from primary school age all the way to people that are retired, and different ability levels. Some people are better than others when they start, and it's just to help them develop their voice, their singing and their musicianship skills.
Nice. What made you want to go into this career path?
So I have been performing from a very young age. I think I had my first dance lessons at the age of 2. So quite some time. And I just kind of had a natural ability to sing, and I enjoyed singing. So as I became older, I kind of went down the singing route and the acting route more than the dancing route. And I come from quite a driven family, so I guess it was always to try and be the best that you can be at your thing. So I've got many siblings, and they are very good at what they do, when it comes to sports or being like managers. And so I guess my thing was just the singing. So I made the most of every opportunity. So I took everything that I could, whether it be at school, whether it be like school concerts, musicals, choir performances, trying to get the solos, or outside of school in the performing arts schools that I was in, trying to get the lead roles. And just making myself known as possible. I'd go and do like local open mic nights, join as many bands as possible, because you never know who's listening. So you could be singing down the high street, and especially being down south, you don't know who's walking past. So I kind of started more down the performance road, and then I then applied for a singing teacher job while I was at uni because I needed money. I didn't want to work in a bar or in retail. I wanted to get a job that was related to what I wanted to do with my life. And from teaching while I was at uni alongside doing my degree, I realised that I actually quite enjoyed teaching. So I started doing some teaching courses and doing my own research. And I still do that today. Like, I have mentors that I go to if I need help, or I have singing lessons myself. I'm part of online teaching communities, always trying to be the best that I can be at what I'm doing. So alongside the teaching, I'm still performing. So I think I've got a good balance between the two jobs.
Nice. What's something you love about your profession?
I love that there's lots of variety. So it's not just in the pupils that I teach or the songs that we're working on, but as I said to you a minute ago, I do a lot of performance. So I'll probably aim for between 40 to 50 gigs a year, whether that be a wedding, corporate events, parties, backing vocals, choirs. And then I love the fact that within me being a performer, I'm kind of in charge of my own timetable. So, which is a perk of being self-employed. If you want to book a day off, you can do. It means you won't get paid. You don't get holiday pay. That's not a thing. But it does mean that if I don't want to work that day, or if for teaching, for instance, most of the time that I'm not in school teaching is because I've gone and taken a gig. So you kind of get to pick where you want your work to be. And I get to meet loads of different people. Like, I love that. I love being sociable. So for instance, I've literally just been working on a gig that I've got in a few months. I don't know anybody in the band, but the client doesn't need to know that. And I'm just going to rock up and meet these people and hope that we've all learnt the same songs, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, sounds like lots of fun. What's something you find difficult about your profession?
The people management side of it. So that's always for me is a bit of a pain. Making sure that you cater for everybody. So not with the teaching aspect. I think I worked out the other week, I've got probably like 45 students in school. And then I also have my pupils outside of school. So that's a lot of people to timetable, and I get my timetable done. And then if somebody goes, I can't make this week or can't do this, and I'm like, no, I've got to undo all of everything. So that's a bit hard. And then also from a band point of view, I work as a dep musician. They're called deps, it's deputy. So if their singer's poorly, I'll jump on that gig. So as long as doing the dep stuff, I also run 2 bands myself. So I've got musicians that I need to be keeping a track on and making sure they know what they're doing and setting out the set lists and giving them all the details and sorting out the payroll. And then I've also got to deal with the clients or the agent. I've got a gig in a few weeks, and it was just for this one gig. We're on site for, I think, 7 hours, and I've had 60 emails just for this one gig.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So something that I find difficult is kind of just making sure that everybody knows exactly what they're doing when, and making sure that I've given them the amount of details they need, whether that be with teaching or whether that be with gig work.
Yeah. What advice would you give someone wanting to go into your career path as a singing teacher?
That's a good question. I think not one size fits all. So you've got to be flexible and be able to move at the student's pace. Not every student wants to achieve gold within their lessons. They might just want, half an hour a week where they can just sing and relax. They don't necessarily want to be able to sound like Beyonce, for instance. You don't have to have a career, be a career vocalist. And do your research as well, just to kind of be able to help your students. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you're struggling with something, as a teacher, they're asking you to achieve something, and they're here and they want to be there, and you're not quite sure how to get there. Always ask, because there is going to be someone that knows. Just because you don't know that answer doesn't mean you're not very good. It just means you haven't learned that yet.
That's great advice. During your career, what's the best thing you've ever done?
As a performer, I've been very lucky. I've had some wonderful opportunities, especially when I was like in my teenage years and my 20s. I got to travel to different countries and do gigs in different countries. I went to like Spain and China and Denmark. And I've got to perform at some of like England's biggest venues, so like the Royal Albert Hall, the O2, Wembley, be on TV. I kind of thought that that's what my life was going to be. But everything works out for its reasons. And as a teacher, it's just seeing my students do what they want, and it's great, like seeing them achieve. And it could be as simple as they've achieved a song they've been working on for ages, or it could be that they've gone and got themselves a role that they wanted, or gone and got themselves a gig that they want. So it's seeing the next generation achieve what they want to achieve, and it's wonderful. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. I know you said you're quite busy, but what does a typical week look like for you?
Okay, you ready? So I'm in school Tuesday to Friday. I have private lessons from home Monday, Tuesday, Friday. I will gig most Fridays and Saturdays, along with the admin as well. So if I have 2 minutes between my students, I am going to use those 2 minutes, because there's probably an email that I need to reply to. I try very hard to be strict with turning off time, and this is something, my husband is also a working musician, and we're both equally as bad, so we have to set boundaries and literally put our phones and our laptops and everything in a different room. So I try not to work past 6:37 unless I have to, because you're going to have times when you're going to have loads of songs to learn, especially if you're depping for another band. You've got their set list to look at. I'm very strict with my timings, so I limit myself to a 30-minute lunch break, 45-minute break for dinner in the evening. But I'll also be doing a bit of admin in between then. And then on Sunday, we try and have days off. So we leave our phones at home. We try and see our families and our friends. But it depends on where we're gigging the night before as well. If we're miles away, we're not going to have much energy on the Sunday. So we just need to have a day at home, and do some resting. So we live for our school holidays. I will have my half terms, and I will have some time to myself.
Sounds really busy. Nice. Um, What's the most important skill for succeeding as a singing or music teacher?
Hustle and network. You could be the best singer in the world or the best teacher in the world in this case, but if people don't know who you are, you're not going to get the work. So be good, be reliable, and be someone that people can always count on when they work with you. I know I'm not the best singer in the world. There are hundreds of things that I would like to improve and work to improve on, but I will always work hard for my gigs. So if I'm depping for another band, I'll make sure that the band leader is as easy, has an easy job as possible. I'll make sure they know what keys I sing their songs in. I'll pay attention on the gigs. I'll be prepared because sometimes they'll be speaking to you while they're singing. You'll have, you know, when pop stars have those headphones in, right? We have that on function bands. So we'll have those headphones in and there'll be the guitarist who's the band leader just going, right, we're going to sing the chorus now, or we're going to do this now, we're going to do that. And it's very hard to be thinking about the lyrics, thinking about the audience, and then having to pay attention to whatever someone else is telling you in the background. So there's, you know, there's quite a lot going on. So I'll be making sure that I pay attention for my own gigs. I'll make sure that my band know exactly what they're doing. So I'll try and make their job as easy as possible. And all they have to do on the day is just turn up with their instruments and play. The part of like the hustling side of things to get gigs, email all the venues, all the agents, make myself known, be annoying. As a singing teacher working in a school, you want to work well with your music department, be a team player. So run extracurriculum classes like choir, help out where needed, like at school concerts. Be organized for my students, so make sure you know where your timetable is, make sure that I've planned for your lessons, make sure that your parents know when lessons are running at what times during that half term. And then to get a job as a singing teacher, what I used to do when I first started out and left uni, I emailed every school within Surrey, Hampshire, and Berkshire every Christmas, every summer, every Easter break, just to see if they needed a teacher. And eventually it paid off. It took me, it took me a few years. I did work for a teaching agency and I had to really push to get enough money to kind of to live in Surrey because it's not cheap down here. And then eventually I got the schools that I wanted and schools that I was comfortable with. I've been with a few different schools and didn't like the vibes, but the schools that I'm at now, I've been there for some of them. I've been there for nearly 10 years. I'm happy. So yeah, you have to hustle, you have to network. And I think that's the same for any industry. You have to make yourself known.
Yeah, great advice. What has the role taught you?
Um, be patient. Everyone learns at different speeds and has different goals. I've learned to relax a little bit with what I expect from students. I think, like I said to you earlier, I come from quite a driven family, so it was always be the best that you can be at all times. And it would, when I first started teaching, I would be like, well, why are you not practicing? Why have you not achieved this? Why are you not as dedicated to this as I was or I am? And I think it kind of then I came to the realization that singing isn't everything for everybody. And that's what I was saying to you earlier. Some people it could just be a hobby. Some people, I do have singers that want to do it and want it to be their career and they're a bit more driven. And then I have, as I said, some people that just want to come and sing for an hour, and that's lovely. As long as they're getting what they want from the lesson, I am happy. So I don't expect everybody to be practicing all the time. Students to take responsibility for themselves. So I used to get very hung up if a student wasn't getting the results that I wanted for them out of their singing exams, for instance. And then I came to the realization of, especially with school students, I only have them for 30 minutes a week. The rest of the time, I know they're in school and they've got other hobbies, but they have also got to take responsibility for their own practice because I can only do so much in half an hour. So I guess being kinder to myself as well. So being kinder to the student within my own head. They don't know that I'm thinking all of this, but also being kinder to myself and being like, you don't need to be everything for everybody. They've got to take responsibility for themselves as well.
Nice. What about your job makes you want to get out of bed in the morning?
I love performing and I love singing. It's for most musicians, music isn't a job, it's a lifestyle, it's in us. Especially as I get older within the performance world, you know, I'm not a young 20 something anymore. I'm still a young person in the grand scheme of life, but I can't be doing show after show after show after show like I used to, because I don't have that energy. You have far more energy now than you will do when you're my age, right? So you can kind of push yourself a little bit more. I'm not saying you should, but you bounce back a lot faster. So it's, with me getting a bit older, people are going, oh, are you going to get gig forever? Yes, if I can. Doesn't mean I'm going to be doing 5 shows a week, but if I can do 1 or 2 shows a week, then I'll be doing that, because it's in me. And I don't know how to be any other way. So there are some bits that feel a little bit like work sometimes, like timetables, for instance. I don't want to spend my life doing timetables, but you know, that's a little thing that I have to do to then spend my whole day being able to sing with all types of singers and being able to teach those people or do gigs with those people. I'm very lucky to be able to say I sing for a living. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. Now we're going on to the creative section. So, um, if your profession was a movie title, what would it be?
Sing, sleep, repeat.
Nice. How would you describe your workspace?
Musically organized, I hope.
Nice. Okay. What's the weirdest thing about your profession?
I don't think there is anything weird about it, but maybe to someone who doesn't do my job, I couldn't tell you what's been on telly for the last 10 years on a Saturday night, because I'm not in. Sometimes you turn up to a gig not knowing anybody in the band and just hope that you've all learnt the same version of the same songs. And the first dance is generally the first dance for everybody involved. So there, you know, it might be the first time we've ever played it, and that is during the bride and groom's first dance.
Well, if you were to swap your job for one day, who would it be with?
Someone that works with animals. Who doesn't love an animal job? Like, I mean, I couldn't be a vet that puts animals down, that or a farmer that has to send them off to the market. I think that would do me in. But I don't know, just I don't know, work at a petting zoo or something. I think that'd be really lovely.
Yeah. What's one thing you never thought you needed as a singing teacher, but now you rely on?
Uh, Social media, online marketing, business skills, all that side of things, having to sell yourself online. I really hate it, really struggle with it. If I could get rid of it out of my life, I would. And also how to be self-employed. Just, I'd never, it makes sense because most performers and musicians are self-employed, but I just didn't think that I needed that when I was coming into the world of it all. And then I was like, oh, I got to learn about this stuff. But yeah, the social media side, most people will tell you they don't want to do that. Yeah.
Mm. Nice. Tell me one experience in your career that felt like magic.
One of my very first gigs out of uni was doing backing vocals for an artist called Pixie Lott, at a private event. So I finished uni on the 1st of August 2013, and then I performed with her and 9 other singers on the 3rd of August. So it was straight away. Only got paid 40 quid, but I thought that was what my life was going to be. I thought I would be doing backing vocals for all the artists for forever. um I mean, little did I know it wouldn't be that easy, but I was young and it made me hungry for it. And after that, I did get some cool little backing vocal gigs here and there. But yeah, that one will always stay with me. I remember doing my final performance, being like, I get to sing for Pixie Lott in 2 days. And that's pretty cool.
Nice. Name someone you would love to work with.
One of my goals is to do backing vocals for an artist on Radio 1's Live Lounge. So anyone that's going to go and do that needs some backing vocalists. That's my goal.
Nice. What is your motto?
I think be the best version of yourself. Treat others as you would like to be treated. And not everybody's going to be nice to you, and not everybody is going to bend over backwards for you, but you can be nice to them. Manners cost nothing.
Nice. Describe your profession in 3 words.
Busy, fun, musical.
Nice. What has being a singing teacher taught you about life?
To get what you want, whether it be like opportunities, income. Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. Income, recognition for your work. You have to just go for it and put yourself out there, because nobody is going to give it to you. You have to work for it. There will be some things that might come a little bit easier, but that's because you've put the work in elsewhere beforehand.